Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you very much for the invitation. Good evening. I'm very happy that I can talk to you today and that I can be again here in Cardiff. We have a long tradition of collaboration since 6 or 7 years. I'm here for 1 week for teaching in different seminars or having workshops with Jean Panther and others. And also Andrea Frank is teaching at our school about European planning systems. We have, as a School of Applied Sciences, different collaborations in Europe. One very important one is, of course, Cardiff, but in the study program of urban planning, urban design, we are also working very close with Freihar in Italy, Bordeaux in France, and also Krakow and Wrocław in Poland. You know, East Germany, very important partner. Istanbul, with the Technik University. And I just arrived from Hong Kong. I had been there last week, but it was a Chinese university, School of Architecture, not the Hong Kong University where Chris Webster is at the moment, and starting some collaboration there. And also, of course, our regions have some collaboration. Our cities, Stuttgart and Cardiff, have a partnership, a city partnership. And also the regions are just starting with Kevin Morgan and with our planning director of our region. So it's the region of Stuttgart, to have some transfer exchange about different aspects of regional planning. And perhaps also we could have some research collaboration in the future. Our school is more a smaller school, smaller university, applied sciences, more technical oriented, but also architecture, design, engineering. But we have a big research institute of applied sciences with about 50 research assistants. I'm responsible for this one, Center of Sustainable Urban Development. But we also have a big one about sustainable energy technology. And also, I'm working very much together with geodesy and informatic. So a lot of things, projects, which I will present today, are the result of some research projects which we are doing together in an integrative, collaborative way. Yeah, today I'd like to talk about this issue of energy efficient cities. First, climate change as a challenge, then some measures and projects which are already done in Germany. Then I'd like to introduce the idea or concept of the energy development planning, where energy concepts are integrated in the German planning system. Then I will give you some examples from our research projects, the city of Ludwigsburg, close to Stuttgart, and the city of Munich, and different levels of energy development planning. Then I will show you some approaches, how to deal with protected areas and monuments, and coming to some final conclusions. I like to talk about 1 hour, and then we will have half an hour for a joint discussion. First topic, climate change as a challenge for urban planners. Somehow, the experts, or most of the experts, say that we have a problem with global warming and we should work on it. We should reduce our carbon emission, and we should also think about adaptation strategies. And especially the government in Germany and a lot of experts in Germany are working. For them, it's a very serious issue at the moment. And you know, also in Germany, we have more and more extreme weather changes, and it's becoming hotter and hotter in general. Also, we have the question, what will be the energy supply in the future? With the end of oil and other resources, how we can increase renewable energies. And as you know, Richard already mentioned this, after Fukushima, our government decided to stop nuclear power. And it was really surprising, and it was a completely shift in the political debate, because all parties in Germany agreed to go out of nuclear power. So it doesn't matter if it's a right wing, left wing, or mid party. Everybody agreed to this. And you know, since the 70s, we have had a big movement to stop nuclear power. And somehow this is now the common sense in Germany. We already closed 8 nuclear power plants, and all the others will all be closed, I think, in the next 20 years. So we have to look for new and other energy supply. And one of the main aspects, of course, will be renewable energy, photovoltaic, and others. So what is the challenge? To find adaptation strategies facing the climate change, but this will be not the main topic of today, and to find mitigation strategies to reduce the carbon emission, to have more energy saving, to create more energy efficient buildings, and to increase the renewable energy systems. The big question for us is, how will it work? We need technical approaches. We already have a lot of innovative new technical approaches in the building sector, in the sector of photovoltaic, and so on. But we also need to discuss the level of the neighborhood, of the quarter. And of course, it's not only a technical question, it's also a question of urban planning, of social question, economical issues, and so on. And for us as planners, and I'm an urban planner, it is also important to say, of course, climate change and the energy, we say Energiewende, energy transformation, is a very important issue, especially in Germany on the political agenda. But it's not the only one, of course. We are facing in Germany demographical change very much. We have a less birth rate since 40 years, so we have to deal in the future with a shrinking society. We are facing segregation, social polarization, perhaps not so much like in other countries at the moment, but it is a topic to find a social balance, social cohesion. We also have to face financial crisis. Somehow Germany is working well at the moment, the economy, but still there are some financial problems. And of course, we have to involve the residents. We have to deal with participation. So for us as planners, we are looking for energy efficient cities, but this is all in the topic, in the background of the sustainable development strategy. So sustainability for me is the main topic, where climate change or climate adaptation planning and mitigation planning are one important issue. So we will look for very different aspects of sustainable development. Another aspect is generally what happens with the society at the moment. And in Germany, it's really a big shift in general in the way how to deal with energy, how to deal with sustainability, how the society should deal with it. We have a well-known professor for philosophy, Peter Sloterdijk. He is publishing a lot, and he had a speech on the climate summit in Copenhagen. And he said, we're at the end of the age of oil, of endless dissipation. We have new theological reformers, the meteorologists. And the question is if we are coming to the new age of ecological carbonism. Yeah, if we make it really like a very new, powerful approach. And the question is how the people, how the society will react to this shift. Because all this promise of emancipation of the 19th century, of the 20th century, is perhaps in danger, or there's a question how we will go on, how we will live with less energy or with another way of energy supply. Coming to what happens or already happens in Germany and other European countries. Of course, we have to think about new renewable energy with no carbon emission, with no nuclear power. So one important aspect is windmills. These are some projects already finished in Hamburg. There had been International Building Exhibition, very interesting. I can recommend it to go there. So some really interesting projects. They are situated just close to the city center of Hamburg on an artificial hill. Also to deal with photovoltaic. So here the photovoltaic is on an old bunker of the Second World War. And it is still standing there, this bunker. Nobody knew what to do with it, so they made some photovoltaic around it, and inside we have a new power plant made with wood as material, so also renewable energy. So this is now the energy bunker for this neighborhood in south of Hamburg, in Wilhelmsburg. Of course, these approaches of renewable energy are very much subsidized at the moment in Germany. So we are spending a lot of money, a lot of state money to support these new technologies and to increase the amount of renewable energy. On the other hand, we are dealing with energy saving, building insulation. And this is not voluntary. We have an energy saving ordinance for this since about 15, 20 years. And every year it's becoming more and more strict. So this ordinance says if you have a new building, or if you like to modernize your existing building, you have to follow the standards which is given there. So old buildings normally have about 200 or 300, we say, kilowatt hour an energy demand or electricity, energy demand, and we like to go in this area, 50, 70, up to 0. So the new buildings have to have a very high standard, almost passive, zero energy houses, but also if you modernize your old building, you have to follow very high standards of insulation, and so you need less heating. Other aspect, geothermy, also as a renewable energy. If it is possible, if we have good conditions on the ground, we are building big new geothermic power plants. This is in Munich, it's a new one, and it will be for 10,000 residents, the renewable energy supply. Also, again, dealing with photovoltaic, with modern facades. These are, again, experimental buildings from this building exhibition in Hamburg. And to deal with new facades, there are some water plants inside, and they are producing energy. But that's an experiment. If we like it in a way of design, that's a big question. But these are some experiments how to work with it. We are building more and more passive houses. They are also subsidized sometimes. And you find here new settlements that's close to Stuttgart. They are looking quite well. They're not looking only like a high-tech building. And also the private owners, private landowners, starting with single-family housing with zero energy and to create new housing developments. One main problem in Germany is that we are still driving very big cars. So we have a zero energy house, but an SUV, or two of them, which also need energy, of course. And also we have some research projects about plus energy buildings. This is, of course, there are still some experiments about it. This had been a result of a student workshop at our school. My colleague Jean Kremers and Andreas Löffler, they made it for a competition of Solar Decathlon and won the third prize about it for such a single-family house with 70 square meters, producing more energy than it needs. But also here, for us as urban designers, urban planners, the question, do we like our cities like this? should it be a model for the whole city? Can be one building, can be exceptional or at the city edge, but it will be not a model for the inner city development. Then we are dealing with insulation of the old buildings, sometimes not in a very good way, so that's not well designed, but it is following these regulations how to reduce the energy demand. And another very big topic are the buildings of the post-war development, big settlements of the 60s and 70s, which have really a high need of heating. And there sometimes we create complete new facade and new balconies. So we have a double facade. And this is a skyscraper. They say the first skyscraper in Germany or perhaps in Europe, which a passive standard. Yeah. There's zero energy demand. So how to integrate these different approaches of renewable energy and also of building insulation and new building standards into our planning system? That's the question for us as urban planners. And how to come from individual approaches, building approaches, to a city-wide approach, to city-wide comprehensive strategy. I told you that I just came from Hong Kong. And if you're in Hong Kong, you get another feeling of density, another feeling of mixed functions and so on. Of course, it's an island and it's an exceptional situation. But also you understand that it's very important to look for the climate conditions. So they have different needs of energy saving. Of course, they have no winter. They have only typhoons. And they have almost no shadow because the sun is always on the zenith. So, of course, they need different approaches than in Germany. And also in Great Britain, you have not such a hard winter like we in Germany. So there's also another heating demand, of course. But somehow in Europe, we have some common conditions. But as I came back on Monday from Hong Kong to London Heathrow, I bought this journal, The Economist, with this title, and it was very interesting for me to read it. I thought I should read it before I'm coming here. So which way Great Britain will go in the next time. Great Britain, or they say Little Britain, without Scotland, without European Union, and so on. But somehow, in my point of view, Great Britain is part of Europe, important part of Europe culture, understanding of a European city, of course, with a bridge to the United States and otherwise. But somehow, we have a common understanding of a European city, but we have also different ideas of planning. And perhaps there could be also an exchange and common understanding how to deal with urban planning with a planning system. To say it in a very simple way, we can say in South Europe we have more an urbanistic approach, very design-oriented approach of planning with a lot of architecture, design in it, a high building regulation. Perhaps in Great Britain we have more an understanding of private-public partnership with master plans which are flexible, with liberal negotiations. In France, for example, we have a very strong state planning approach with big infrastructure projects, or we had some. And in Germany, somehow, we have a strong state, a high tax rate, as you know. We have a high regulated planning system and a high regulated zoning system. But of course, we have also a mixture of different approaches because it's a big country with very different cities and different political directions. But what is common? The understanding of a European city, of urban heritage, medieval structures, historical structure of the 19th century, of industrial cities. And we have a common model of Leipzig Charter. But it's not so much known, this Leipzig Charter. But the European Union, so also Great Britain, agreed to this charter in 2007. So it's an English-written charter, but it was signed in Leipzig, in a German city. And in this charter, you can find the idea of a European city, of a common understanding. with a sustainable urban design, with social cohesion, and it should be economic competitive. And this Leipzig Charter is an answer to the Charter of Athens from 1933, where you have more this idea of a modern city, of divided functions, of less density. And here we find the idea of limitation of urban sprawl, of energy saving, of compact and dense structures and mixed functions. And for me as an urban planner, it's important to say, yes, we need to face the climate change. We need energy efficient cities. But in this context, we should still work also on compact structures and not increase the urban sprawl with passive houses. That would be a mistake, because then we will increase the traffic, car traffic. And also we should still work on dense structures. And it is possible to create an energy efficient neighborhood in dense and compact structures. And that's the main issue or main challenge for urban planners with energy planning. Only to have a small overview, a small introduction, how this German planning system is working. It is mainly working on the level on a municipality and also the region. Federal spatial planning and state planning, these Bundesländer, are more or less weak. We have a very much decentralized system. And the municipality is working with these land use plans and zoning plans. And in difference to Great Britain, every city has to do it, and has to do it in the same way, with the same legend, with the same building ordinance behind it. And for us, in our research projects, it was very important to combine this planning levels, we are now on the level of the municipality, the city, with the new concepts for energy saving. So almost every city in Germany has not only a land use plan, every city has also a so-called climate plan or energy concept. And these energy concepts are very much subsidized at the moment from the national government. So we have these energy plans, we have the land use plans on the city level, then we have on the level of the quarter and district development plans, and also quarter energy plans. And then on the level where we create a new housing project, very much detailed, we have zoning plans, and of course we need energy refurbishment plans or climate protection plans on this level for the housing. On the other side, we have a lot of new sectoral laws to save energy and to increase the renewable energy. And we try now to combine these two approaches, because it's sometimes not so easy that the energy planners, the engineers, the technicians are working together with architects, with designers. And there are also, of course, a lot of different perspectives and different interests. But I think it is not enough to increase the building and energy saving of one building and some technical uses. We should work on the level of the quarter or the level of the district. Some examples to make it more clear, more visible. City of Ludwigsburg. City of Ludwigsburg is located north of Stuttgart. Stuttgart is a very decentralized region. Stuttgart has only 600,000 inhabitants, but the whole region has 2.5 million, very much industrial, a lot of industry, car industry. And we started 5 years ago with this case study for the International Energy Agency and for the national government to work out it as a case study of an energy efficient city. And Ludwigsburg has a very good urban development planning process, a good governance process, and also some good energy concepts. And one of the main decisions had been from the city to create a new power plant which is working with wood, so with renewable energy. And this power plant is supplying the whole city with, how you call it, with a heating district, district heating concept, with pipelines. Yeah? And that's also a special German approach. As I understood, in Great Britain, it's not so well known. Of course, we also have some big players of energy supply, like E.ON and Vattenfall and others. But the cities can create their own, we say, Stadtwerke, their own energy supplier. And some cities have it since 100 years or 150 years for infrastructure or for water, for example, and also for energy supply. And some cities now started to reinvent these Stadtwerke or to found new ones. These energy suppliers are owned by the city or by a region, completely state-owned, sometimes also part with a private company. And so the city can implement new innovative technologies or new power plants on their own. So this was built by a city-owned energy supplier. And of course, it was also a political decision to make it. But it's also working in an economical way, because the city gets back the profit of this, and it's not going to Vattenfall or to other big energy suppliers. Ludwigsburg has an urban development plan, a very comprehensive one. They have also district development plans, and they are doing special plans for refurbishment areas. They have also a general energy concept for the whole city, and they are developing energy district development plans and energy quarter development plans. So it's different levels of the city, very much comprehensive, very much clear. This is, of course, you have to spend a lot of effort for it. You need a good administration. You need to spend money for offices or researching. But somehow, perhaps it is worth to do it to have a good framework to implement some projects. We had been participating in different ways and different projects in this energy concepts. One was this Ensure project. You can find it also on the internet, just finished, an Interreg project by European Union. We had one of the partners with the city of Ludwigsburg, which were looking for new ways of energy saving and energy action plans with 13 municipalities in European Union. And we made a model for a district in Ludwigsburg, the so-called East District, Ludwigsburg East. It looks quite complicated, but I only like to try to give an overview or a general understanding how we try to structure this idea of an energy development plan, or to how to integrate an energy concept in the urban development plans. So we already have a district development plan, and now we are starting to look in this district for potentials of renewable energy, because where are roofs or places for photovoltaic, perhaps also for windmills, but they are mostly abroad, or for geothermy or others, where we need new urban development, urban design, more densification, for example, and which building stock needs to be refurbished, especially for energy issues. So we are looking for the roofs, for geothermal, and so on, district heating pipelines. We are looking for settlement types, and we are looking for the building stock. This all is analyzed, and then some conclusions and some measures. Also very important, but it's also only as an overview, how to work with the data and how to find out these things. Of course, if you make a city-wide plan, you have different data, more settlement types, to look for the heating demand of these settlements. On the level of the district, you can be more detailed. You have more information about the different building typologies. We are working here with GIS systems, geographic informatics systems, and we are implementing some data in this about the building age, building modernization level, and so on. And then on the quarter, of course, a quarter level, you can go out, you can visit the buildings, make a check of them, and have much more detailed information about the housing stock. This is one result of this. Almost every city in Germany has such plans of heat density, of heating demand, on the level of the settlement type. So red, the color red is a high heating demand, yellow is less one. These are mixed average data, and you can see we have some types which have a high energy demand. Next step is that we are looking for the weaknesses and threats, and we are combining the results of the energy concept with results of urban regeneration, of infrastructure problems, and so on, and making an overlaying concept. And we found out, for example, that in these areas we need a modernization of the buildings and for the energy saving, but also for other reasons, because they have a weak infrastructure and they have problems in general with the housing stock. Also, we are looking for the strengths and opportunities. And for example, we are looking for district heating pipelines, or new decentralized energy networks, for solar thermal photovoltaic potentials, and so on. And this all will be pointed out. And so you have a general overview, and you can make a decision. The problem in Germany at the moment is that we spend a lot of money for this energy transformation, for new technologies, but always in an individual way. So we have somewhere a new small heating plant, and we have photovoltaic on the roofs or solar thermy, and we have some building energy saving modernization, and so on. And this is all in an individual way. And the problem is the city of Ludwigsburg wants to build on this pipeline for their big new power plant with renewable energy. But of course, we need also people, or we need landowners who are using this way of energy and not using solar thermy or other ones. So we need an integrated approach, we need prioritization, we need an integrated concept. Coming now to the level of the quarter. The quarter, of course, is the most important level, but also the most detailed and the most, you have to spend a lot of effort for it, of course. You cannot do it for every quarter. But if you have a special regeneration area with special subsidies and special social needs and infrastructure needs, you can make a more detailed research or analysis. And you can see here we have it more on the building level, the energy demand or heating demand, also in a 3D level. And we can find out it very detailed where we need energy refurbishment. Also, we are working with scenarios. So we have different standards of refurbishment, and then we have different heating demands on the end. That's very important, for example, if the energy supplier decides to extend the district heating, the pipeline, he needs, of course, still some demand to sell his energy to the people. Coming to the example of Munich. In Munich, we made a big research project, and we called it energy justice concept, to find a new balance between energy modernization and urban planning approaches. Munich is a growing city like Stuttgart, and they are just starting to create a new big settlement for 10,000 people in the west of Munich, and we combined this new development with the existing settlement of the 60s, Neuaubing, to have an energy modernization in the old building stock and also to have a very energy high standard in the new building stock. And here you can find again, this geothermic power plant which will supply the whole area in the future. And we were looking for an integrated approach for a balance between different topics. So of course we were looking for renewable energy, that is with this geothermic. We were looking for high energy standards, but also where's the location, how is the density, how is the traffic, how is the quality of urban design, and very important, how is the social and economic balance. Are still the houses affordable, the rents not too high, and so on. And this is a symbol to find this balance between the different topics, but also between the old existing building stock and the new one, to find some connections. For the new housing area, there had been a competition. We are always try to work with competitions on urban design. Munich is very famous for this. Every project goes with a competition in Munich, also in Stuttgart. I had been in a jury for this, and we made some, created some energy standards before we started with this competition. And we were looking for compact and dense structures, for the use of passive solar energy, to have less shadows, but also photovoltaic on the roofs, high energy building standards, of course, and using of this geothermic power plant. And this had been the first prizes, quite dense structures, block structures, but also a lot of green areas in between. Huge new housing area. And we made some model models for some of these results. This is a block. Architects are West 8 from the Netherlands, and we were looking for the density, and we say the compact, how compact the structure is, and also for the shadows, and made some comparison what is the most energy efficient way. And no surprise, of course, such a structure is very much energy efficient because there are not so many single standing houses and not so many walls, yeah, housing walls. We were looking also for conflicts which are appearing and how to solve them, how to find a solution. Again, we have this topic of the district heating. This is this geothermic power plant and the heating pipelines, and how to deal which energy standard in this 60 years settlement, how to deal with the problem of the costs. If a private landlord is creating a very high energy standard and have a big insulation, he can put it on the rent, these costs. So the rent will increase, and we will have social problems with the people who have to move out. We can have gentrification processes and so on. Also, we made such a planning concept. I will not go on it in detail, only to have an idea how it can work, how it looks like, to again, like in Ludwigsburg, to have some urban design approaches, urban planning approaches, but also some information about the energy standards, solar, photovoltaic, and so on. Coming to the last point, how to deal with energy concepts in protected areas. I told you that we have somehow very high standards in energy insulation, energy saving, but it's not always very beautiful what happens with the buildings, especially when you have protected areas, or also when you have very beautiful ensembles of the 19th century, which might be not protected, but worthwhile to protect. Like this one, yeah? This is not a monument, but it looks quite well, and it should be not transformed in such an insulated facade. And how to deal with it? Because this landowner has done well in the sense of our national government. He was following this energy ordinance. He is saving energy, he has a big insulation, and so on. But it's not very beautiful. also we have an increasing problem that some buildings are vanishing, especially buildings of the 60s and 70s, because they have a very bad insulation, and they have also sometimes not so good standards or small apartments. So the landowner says, okay, I like to demolish it. It's better to build a new passive house than to maintain it. So that's also an increasing problem. So for us as urban planners, it's really a question how to modernize a nice settlement in an energy efficient way, but also to protect the urban design, to protect the urban heritage. In this Munich project, which I already mentioned, we also had a settlement of the 30s. Very nice one, like a garden city, yeah, a little bit following the idea of Howard. And here you can see it's still the ensemble is still there, but bad conditions inside with very small apartments, not modernized since a lot of years. And the problem is, if you are starting with an insulation here at these windows or such a door, and you have a new door and new windows which are more energy efficient, you are destroying the design of the facade. You are destroying, in general, the picture, how the windows are implemented in the facade. Here are some, how you call it, some nice paintings and so on. So this all is vanishing behind this new insulation facade. And we were looking for some scenarios, some models, how to deal with it. And of course, we have our regulation for energy savings, and somehow we have to follow them. There can be some exceptions for monuments, but in general, we need to save energy. But we have also to look for the protection of this ensemble. This had been a protected ensemble. We have to look for the energy supplier. Here we have, again, this geothermic power plant with their pipelines. So then we have to look for the landowner, of course. He likes to modernize it, and he likes to make some profit, but he should not speculate with it, but he needs to make it in an economical way. And we have the tenants who should live there also in the future and who like to have a low rent, but also to decrease the cost for heating. And we compared different scenarios with different energy supply, with different insulation strategies. And at the end, we recommended not to make any insulation outside, to protect the old facade, to renovate it, to make the insulation inside of the wall, or to make no insulation at all, only to have new windows, new insulation of roof and the basement. Also, we recommend to use this district heating, which was already starting. So if we have a renewable district heating, we must not go onto a passive standard. Yeah. So we have a good supply with renewable energy. And as a result, we have less carbon emission, but we have protected the old facade. Another example is the inner city of Ludwigsburg. It was built like a new residence city in the 18th century, like a small Versailles, as a Baroque city. And it's still maintained. It had been not destroyed during the Second World War. And we have still the whole Baroque inner city. We have still the urban pattern. We have a big castle, of course, but also this old inner city structure. And the market square is very beautiful, but if you are looking one corner around, you find buildings like this. Different windows, different facades, different approaches, how to modernize such a building. So we have just started this project, but again, we are looking here for a comprehensive integrated strategy. not all buildings are protected, only the ones in the market square and the red ones, they are monuments, but the others are not monuments. So we are looking for a strategy also to maintain the old facades of the other buildings and to find an integrated energy concept. To look what are very important design criteria of such buildings, how to deal with the roof, with windows, and so on, and then to find a solution with insulation or without insulation, or with insulation inside, how to deal with the windows, and so on. In Germany, we have different strategies how to protect urban design or ensembles, how to deal with them. And so we are looking for an urban regeneration plan for this building stock. And if necessary, we will look for different protection concepts. The strongest one, of course, will be the conservation, but we cannot have a protection for the whole inner city. So we will also work with so-called protection of buildings and protection of design. So we have some special regulations how to protect an ensemble and to find a way, a balance between protection of the facade and to deal with energy saving. So it's always a question of a balance, also always a question to find a comprehensive strategy. Okay, coming to the conclusions. In our point of view, climate change is a challenge and we have to face it. We have to look for it on different levels. Adaptation strategies, mitigation strategies. We have to look for energy saving, but also for more renewable energy supply. And for us, it's very important to integrate these new energy technologies and these new energy development plans with city-wide concepts, to integrate it in our planning system. And it's very important to find synergies and conflicts between different objectives. So not only to look for the energy saving, also look for the social orientation, to look for the building design, and to look for economical aspects, of course. And to find a solution on the level of a district and not on a level on a building, to find a comprehensive approach. Also, it's very important to look which method and which data I need on which scale and how to deal with it. In Germany, because there's a lot of funding and a lot of political demand, there are very different approaches and some data are wrong or it's not very much clear how to deal with it. So we need somehow also a comprehensive understanding or common understanding how to deal with which data and how to find out the heating demand of the buildings. And then to find a strategy of urban regeneration for this. And of course, we need to find also a strategy for the energy supply. And this can be different in every city, can be different in every district. It's also a very important question if we are facing more centralized approaches of energy supply or more decentralized. That's still a big struggle in Germany between different energy suppliers and different experts. I think we need to find a mixture. We will not be able in such an industrialized country to make all in a decentralized or autonomous way. But some approaches are also working decentralized. So there should be a combination and again a comprehensive strategy. And of course, we have to care also for our urban heritage, for protected areas. I think it's also very important to look for the urban culture, for our urban heritage, and to find their a common strategy. And at the end, and I didn't point it out today so much, we have to involve the residents and the stakeholders to find a social balance of this energy transition. Also in Germany, we have a big discussion at the moment about the costs of the energy transformation, because a lot of these measures are financed by the price for electricity. It's not financed by taxes, it's financed by electricity price. And this price is really increasing, or had been increased in the last years. So this is also a topic, how to finance it. But the argument was at the beginning, I need to subsidize it, I need to support innovative technologies, and at the end, it could be helpful for German industry to export these technologies. But at the moment, we have a problem that all the photovoltaic industry is now increasing in China and not anymore so much in Germany. But that's another topic, perhaps. And also, of course, we have to deal with the stakeholders and with the landowners. The landowner, at the end, has to finance this project. He is getting some subsidies if he is doing a good renovation of his building or can reduce his taxes. But at the end, we need to involve him, and he has to find and finance a solution for his building together or in a framework of a neighborhood concept. So this was an overview about our approaches in Germany and our research projects about it. And I tried to point out this combination of our planning approaches and energy concepts and give you some examples of current strategies in Germany for new housing estates, for urban regeneration, and also for protected areas. I hope this overview was good, understandable for you, and I would be happy to discuss a little bit about this approach and to compare it with other approaches. Thank you very much.